Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. Today we have a parole hearing that reads like the instruction manual for relationship disasters. A self-proclaimed whoremonger is facing revocation because, according to him, his multiple baby mamas are using the parole rules as weapons in their personal vendettas against him. Toss in unpaid fees and anxiety-fueled ghosting from parole reporting, and you've got a drama that would make even daytime soap operas look tame. Let's watch as his personal failures are framed as someone else's revenge.
All right, we'll start this hearing at 9:20 in the morning. We're in Baton Rouge at headquarters. With me is Chuck Tillis on my left, and on my right is Danny Barra. My name is Steve Prater with the Committee on Parole. We've introduced ourselves, and this is our third hearing this morning. We're talking to you at Bossier Max. Is there any staff in there with Bossier Max, sir? And would you?
Your Honor, we're over here at Bossier Medium now.
Okay, you're Bossier PD.
We moved him here for parole hearing. I'm Lieutenant Roberts, Assistant Warden.
Okay.
I'm Deputy Edwards, Classification Officer here.
Okay. All right. Thank you. And thank you for hosting us this morning. I hope everything's going well up in Bossier.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And we're talking to Nicholas Campbell. Is that correct? Are you Mr. Campbell?
Yes, sir.
Do you know your DOC number by chance?
It's gonna be 579383, Mr. Prater.
Okay. And do you have a piece of paper in front of you that's got your name on it that you signed about this hearing, talks about your different rights?
Yes, sir.
And did you sign that and you understood it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, we're going to go over when you get out of jail, because this is a revocation hearing. When you get out of jail and get put on parole, you sign that you agree to this list of things, these list of rules that you're going to abide by. And you're accused by your parole officer of violating some of these rules, and you've had a hearing about these. So we're going to go over these rules one by one, and I'm going to let you say if you're guilty, not guilty, or guilty or not guilty with a statement. Okay, we won't talk about this because we want to give you a fair shot. Okay?
Yes, sir.
The first rule that you're accused of is failing to report March through July of 2024. Are you guilty of that or not guilty?
I'm guilty of that. I'm guilty of that, Mr. Prater. But by reason of insanity, almost, I'm guilty of that because I had to go and sit in CCC for 14 months. Okay, because I went through the same situation that I'm going through today last year with my other child's mother. I've never been guilty of a domestic crime. What I am guilty of is whoremongering. I've went between these two women and they have used my parole to weaponize it to get back at me for going between these two women. Okay, because in 2023, I was in your jail on a domestic charge and it got completely dismissed. Just like this one, it got completely dismissed. Well, when I got out of Tallulah, my anxiety was so high and I had such bad mental health from sitting in that cell 23 hours a day. I was scared to leave the house, Mr. Prater. I got put on Zoloft, a mental medication, and I was so high strung, I couldn't even leave my house to go to get my prescription filled. And then my other baby mama was picking me up and I got caught cheating on the other one. And that's what this whole deal's about. And I just hope y'all see that, today. But I am guilty. I went to that man's office 1 or 2 times and I didn't go after that because of this deal. I was scared to death.
Okay. We'll put down that you're pleading guilty to that, and we'll try to not chase rabbits so we can get through this list, okay? One at a time. So you're saying you're guilty?
Yes, sir.
Of failing to report. Okay. Number 3, failed to provide you an address. You didn't give them an address where you would be. Is that correct?
That's not true. I gave them both of my addresses. I got out and I paroled out to Firestone, and I wasn't able to stay there anymore because the man I was living with, my uncle at my shop, he went to the hospital for 9 weeks and I gave my parole officer my other address in Keithfield.
Okay.
So
All
that
right.
one's not true. That one's not true.
Okay. You saying you're not guilty of that? All
No,
right.
sir. I told, he knew where I was at.
All right. Number 4. You were arrested on a Bossier warrant for domestic abuse strangulation, and you pled guilty to violating a protective order. Is that true or not?
Yes, sir. Like I told you, that is true. I pled guilty to a violation of protection order misdemeanor. And I beat the domestic charge just like I told you. I was lied on by a female. I beat it completely. They dismissed it. And what I pled guilty to is I sent $100 cash app to my son's mother for $100 because she had requested me earlier that day. Well, that doesn't work like that. Even though she contacted me first, because I requested the money back from her, she could still, like I told you, she weaponized that and got me on a violation of protection order. And that's when it was $100 cash app for a heart surgery because my heart was broken.
Oh, okay. I got that. That makes perfect sense. Okay, let's move on to number 6. All right.
Yes, sir.
Number 6, no proof of employment. You didn't have any proof of employment, correct?
No, sir. I gave my parole officer, Brandon Thompson, I showed him my receipt book. I run a mechanic shop out of my garage. And I showed him my receipt book, and he came over and he seen the 2 times he came over, he seen motorcycles on the lift tables, and I had an 18-wheeler torn down in the driveway.
Okay. So you're saying you did have a place of employment, but they just misunderstood or didn't look at the.
I'm self-employed. I own Campbell's Mechanics in Keithfield.
Okay. All right. Number 9, no valid address. You didn't give them a good address.
That was number 2. That's not guilty. I told you I gave him he knew where I was at both times. I just didn't go see him.
Well, yeah, but no, on number 2, you pled guilty. You first pled at the hearing, you pled not guilty, reason of insanity.
Yes,
then
sir.
you pled guilty today for number 2, and now you're saying not guilty.
Yeah, he had both of my addresses. He had my address in Firestone, and then I told him I was going back to my son's mother's in Keithfield. He had my address.
Okay. All right. And number 10, you pled guilty to owing the Department of Corrections. You had paid your fees for being on parole. Is that correct?
I'm guilty of that, sir. Between 3 kids, my little money was stretched pretty thin. I couldn't pay y'all. I'm guilty of that. I couldn't keep milk in the refrigerator.
Okay. So basically, the most serious one is the number 4, involved in criminal activity. And you're saying, did you ever have any kind of strangulation or any kind of domestic abuse at all to this lady?
No, sir. No, sir. And listen, my wife has sent my parole officer. You can look it up too. She's nuts. She got arrested in your parish for 5 counts of cyber stalking and false communication of a planned arson for threatening to blow up her law firm she worked at. And then she got arrested in Bossier for domestic abuse since I've been in jail. But no, sir, my domestic abuse got completely dismissed. I pled guilty to sending that girl a cash app for $100. They knew they had took her word for it, and she lied on me. I'm guilty of going between the 2 women, and it causes chaos.
So the only thing you're guilty of is being a whoremonger. Is that what you said?
Yes, sir, being a whoremonger.
Okay, I got you. Right. Okay, well, that's all the questions that I have. Mr. Tillman?
He's explained well. I have no questions.
Okay, thank you, sir. Mr. Barrow?
I just have one. You're saying you only pled guilty to that one thing, but on January 13th, 2025, you pled guilty to violating a protective order.
Yes, sir. That was the Cash App request that's what misdemeanor. That's what I pled guilty to. I took 30 days misdemeanor for a violation of protection order for sending her a Cash App. And I didn't just send that Cash App out of the blue. She sent me a $500 Cash App requesting some crazy, and I sent her one back for heart surgery because my heart was broken.
Gotcha. Okay,
There was no harassing, there was no stalking or nothing like that. It was a Cash App request.
all right.
And I was
You got cleared it
contacted.
up.
You got
Okay.
that it?
Yeah.
Y'all ready to vote?
Yes.
Okay, this was assigned to me, so I get to vote first, and I'm sorry to tell you this, but I'm thinking that you're in violation of all of these rules, number 2, 3, 4, 6, 9, and 10, and so for that reason, your parole is violated, sir. I'm sorry to tell you that, as far as my vote goes. Mr. Tillis?
I concur with Mr. Prater. I concur with Mr. Prater. for this
Okay,
thing.
sorry to tell you, but the vote is unanimous, and you have been revoked now. And that'll conclude our hearing at Bossier Max. The time is 9:30.
Nothing says I'm bad at adulting like pleading guilty to violating a protective order because you sent your baby mama $100 on Cash App. That volatile bullshit is exactly what landed him back before the board, and their only decision being parole revoked, proving the Rico Suave defense doesn't hold up in court. When will people learn that toxic relationships never end well, especially when the law gets caught in the crossfire? And how many times can someone replay the same damaging patterns before it costs them more than just their love life? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more gripping courtroom moments. Thank you for watching. See you in the next one.